I'm afraid I can't do that. I'll do this very carefully, so that the glass doesn't break in two. Perfect. The hole I've dug is big enough to get to the other side of the fence. Good God. There are dozens, hundreds of corpses hanging from the branches. What could have drawn all these people here? What kind of pain? What kind of desperation brought them here? These are the corpses of ordinary people who were living their ordinary lives in their ordinary little worlds up to a very short time ago. Could any of them have imagined meeting an end like this back then? Forgotten and nameless, swaying in the breeze like marionettes. And all those savages in uniforms did was close the park. They didn't even bother to cut their bodies down from the trees. I'm afraid that tonight, there are too many dark stars to count in Suicide Park. One of the many dark stars in the park. Although the crows have already done a thorough job on him, from what's left, I'd say that the corpse belongs to a young man, barely of legal age. A rotting bench overlooking purgatory. It looks like the kid who hanged himself from this tree climbed up on this and then jumped with the rope around his neck. Wait a minute. That guy is the suicide victim who was hanging from this tree. No, don't do it, please. No! Good God, I saw him hang himself. It's impressive. The park was able to devour the fence effortlessly. The metal bars became like plasticine, molded by the whims of the vegetation. Wherever I look, I see corpses hanging from these branches, some so recent that the shadows of their faces make it seem like they're following you with their gaze. This vegetation is so dense that all you can see are some flattened metal posts in there. There's no doubt that nature has taken over this corner of the city. And considering its proximity to the medical center, I bet this is the continuation of the wall of trees that crosses the compound from one end to the other. The trees and bushes are so close together here that I can hardly push the branches to one side with my hands. The thorns in these bushes are jabbing into me like metal spikes. I'm not going to be able to open up a path this way. Impossible. I'll need something that cuts better if I want to hack my way through this impenetrable tangle of vegetation and bushes. It's an old rope, but in good condition, considering how long it's been exposed to the elements. But the stench it gives off is nauseating. If I want to hack a path through this wall of vegetation, I'll have to use something that cuts better than this piece of glass. The crowbar fits perfectly into the hole in the manhole cover. Wait a minute. I'm not going to climb down any further. It's totally dark in there, and it would be crazy to go into these sewers without any light. I agree that violence is sometimes the shortest path between 2 points, but considering how heavy this padlock and the chain are, I'm not sure that brute force is going to help me open this door. I'm not going to snuff out this oil lamp. This place looks sinister enough with light. This oil lamp is the room's only source of light. The flickering of the flame makes the room look ghostly, like in a dream, more like in a nightmare. What for? I'd only end up denting the metal of the drums a little. Impossible. It's beyond my reach. The grate prevents me from getting there. I could tie the rope there, but what for? I could tie it here, but I still wouldn't be able to move these bars even an inch. The rope would break long before that. I don't see anything to tie to this. As dead as that tree is, it still looks strong enough to tie the rope to. Before I go down, I'll leave the heavy stuff here, in case the rope doesn't support my weight. Underneath the surface, there must be many more of these stone things I see sticking out of the water. No doubt they're the remains of a structure that sank here. It seems like a small fragment of one of them is loose. A small piece of sculpted marble. It's the head of an animal above what looks like flames or an open fire. Could it be a lion's head? I'll get my stuff. The head of the lion above the flames. I think this must be yours.
The head of the lion, the head of the lion above the flames. The ruins of the temple still exist. Salvation is still possible. We can prevent it. We can still prevent it. Don't you understand? The annihilation of time. The wrath of God for our arrogance. There's still time. I have to return to the ruins of the temple. I have to go back to the ruins of the temple.
Wait a minute! Whew. There's no question in my mind. This man is a complete lunatic. Reverend Blake's cross. A stick with a very, very striking shape. She meditates in silence, resigned and exhausted. Considering the mental state of Reverend Blake, I guess it falls to her to take care of him night and day. It doesn't look like it's having any effect. I don't see where I can put this stick here, or why I'd want to either. Maybe with the help of the crowbar, I can get the subway sign off the wall. Damn it! I've managed to tear it down, but the subway sign is broken in two. A subway sign split in two. That's what happens when you try to rip something off a wall without the right tools. The edges of this hole are quite slippery and unstable. Better not get too close. It looks like there are some chiseled stone structures sticking out of the water. What are they? The remains of columns, perhaps? And what are they doing sunk here in the middle of nowhere? Okay, let's see if I can open this. Got it. Let's see. I'm sure that if I tug on it a little... Good. The upholstery came off along with one of the elastic bands that was holding it to the seat. With the cover removed, that seat looks even more depressing. It serves its purpose to a T. If you stretch it in both directions, the band becomes longer. And if you release it, well, I'd better not do that. It's the scrap of fabric that was used as a seat cover in the abandoned car. Dirty, damp, and mildewed. I'm afraid it's seen better days. So, let's see. I just made a primitive homemade slingshot. They could be the perfect projectile, but these nails would end up shredding the rubber band on the slingshot. Besides, something tells me I'm not very good at using these things. I doubt I'd accomplish anything using the pieces of the metal sign with that. Better not. That would be a waste of time. Shoot over there, even if I had a projectile handy. I consider myself rather clumsy. I just end up getting my fingers caught in the elastic. Use this here? How? A pool of blood mixed with mud marks the spot where that man, the mole, was shot. It gives me the chills. They may be able to kill with impunity, but it's still the scene of a crime.
Hello, Michael.
You did a very good job with your mission. I owe you.
Yes, our dad would be proud. Are you going to give us a reward, Michael?
Of course. You deserve it. Give me time to bring you something.
Yeah!
I have to get going. Keep practicing your marksmanship, boys.
Hello, Michael.
Hi, kids.
We got Mom out of the house. Now what about that reward?
Yes. I think I have something you might like. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. They're just kids. And this could get them into trouble. I know perfectly well what they're going to use it for, but their aim is amazing. And a little commotion on the camp fence could be a good thing for everyone. Besides, they want to do something for their father, and those pigs at the gate deserve a surprise.
What is it, Michael? Tell us, what is it?
I know it's something you're really going to like. Here you go. It's a slingshot.
It's a slingshot! Thank you, Michael. With this, we'll be able to hit the watchtowers. Come on, let's try it. That'll teach you, pigs.
Attention, all units in Sector 12. Report immediately to the North Watchtower. I repeat, report immediately to the North Watchtower.
What's going on?
I don't know. It must be something serious. Come on, let's go.
You hit him! Haha, yes! So what do we do now? I don't know. We've got to get out of here. Quickly! Run!
I better take this with me. Oh no! Here comes that sensation again. It's like floating in a dense liquid, while everything around me is transformed. Good God. I think I'm starting to lose my mind. Oh, shit. The key's not in the ignition. One of the soldiers on sentry duty must have it. Anyway, I should have figured as much. The type of gloves motorcyclists wear. And although I can get my hands into them, they're not exactly my size. A small military sentry box with no door. There's no need to handle this with gloves on. The entire world has collapsed. Why would I care in the least about leaving fingerprints here? Why would I want to do something like that? It's one of the ways into the city's sewer system. The Great Wave wrecked this place. Did the same thing happen down there? It's rather disconcerting to see such a small building surrounded by such extreme security measures. Could this be the medical center people have been telling me about? That would be one way of getting into the house. But the noise of breaking glass would alert the soldiers posted nearby. I'd rather not think about what those savages would do to this old man. And me. This quilted fabric fits the size of the window perfectly. Okay, let's try this. And let's cross our fingers that the seat cover absorbs the noise of the breaking glass. If the soldiers next door find me, they'll blow my head off without bothering to ask questions.
You've done it. Thank you. Thank you. I'm safe now. God bless you, stranger. You saved my life.
Take care of yourself, old man. And I don't have to tell you, don't open the door to strangers. Let's see what's on the other side of this hedge. No! Please! These visions! My head!
You won't get any of his things. I won't allow it. Do you hear me?
Michael, is that you? Thank God we found you. It's me, Chris. Don't you recognize me? But there is a solution, Michael. All is not lost. There is still a possibility of salvation for us. For each and every one of us.
You have to stop this, Michael. You have to quit.
I can't do it!
It's destroying us, don't you see? It's killing us.
It's that demon inside me! I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. These visions are getting more intense all the time. The pain is unbearable. Who's Chris? Salvation is still possible, he said. Could that be true? And once again, that female voice that's been haunting me since I woke up. Who is she? Why was she so distressed? What the hell happened to us? Or is going to happen to us? From here, I'll have a magnificent view of the hospital compound. In truth, the part that's visible from the road is only a fraction of it. The vegetation conceals a much larger area. The trees and bushes conceal structures where hundreds and hundreds of metal barrels are being stored. Whatever's inside them, there must be thousands of gallons of it down there. More of that barbed wire that adorns all the city's buildings. If I get up close enough, I can hear a slight buzz, a sure sign that this fence is electrified. There's a flat metal object buried in the bushes, but I can't see it very well from this side of the fence. I have no intention of sticking my arms through this electrified fence. As a suicide option, I think I'd rather use the park next door. I don't think I'd gain anything by using this here. Okay, I'll wear the gloves to cut the electrified wire. Perfect. Let's see what's down here. It's a trapdoor, and it looks like it hasn't been used in a long, long time. This door leads to a dingy back room. What the hell could be in here? I can hear the buzz of electricity coming from inside, but I can't figure out anything more without a little more light. What is this place? Where the devil am I? It seems like the small building at the ground level is just camouflage. The most important part is here underground. Are all of them dissolved? How many patients can there be packed in here? Dozens? Hundreds? This is horrible! Great. It's a hell of a drop, and the railing wobbles when you touch it. Awesome! Wait a minute though. Isn't the idea of installing this to make it safe for people to cross from one side to the other? I can't look directly into them. These lights are so bright that it seems like day in here. It must take an enormous amount of electricity to maintain this building. That explains the number of barrels out there. That's where the fuel is stored, that they need to run all the compound's generators. Hydrofluoric acid. What's a chemical like this doing inside a medical facility? The smell alone is giving me a headache. It's the only exit on this side of the catwalk. A ventilation hole covered with a grate. It doesn't look promising, but any place is better than this gateway to hell where I am now. Let's see if this grate can be removed. Perfect. It looks like this hole leads to a passageway on the other side. Judging by the horrible noise coming from the other side, this door must lead to the vast hall where the dissolved are going through their final agony. As Reverend Blake might say, a stairway down to the very bowels of the underworld. A tiny lock is preventing me from opening the door, and despite its size, it seems to be very strong. There's a bunch of papers stuck to the door of the closet. There seems to be some type of bureaucratic form among them. Military personnel, GPS, targets, rifles. I'm afraid what's described on these pages doesn't have very much to do with typical medical activities in a hospital. The handle that opens this rusty monstrosity looks worn out. It looks like this closet is used frequently, and with very little care. The bolt cutters are very worn. I'm not going to waste energy using them without good reason. I'm not going to open it this way. I don't see any cracks in the door big enough to get any leverage. It won't open that way. It has a side zipper that's open. The lining of the bag is damp and sticky. What the hell could they have been keeping inside it? It's sagging from the weight and so dilapidated that I doubt this janitor's cart has many more trips left in it. The future is in our hands. Collaborate, rebuild, report. From the text, I say this poster must have been part of a government campaign launched after the Great Wave. Unlike its neighbors, this door is hanging open. All I see inside are remnants of stickers and torn photographs. It looks like someone left in a hurry, without even saying goodbye. A row of anonymous, ramshackle lockers. I get the impression that everything in here could fall apart at any moment. Maybe in solidarity with those poor unfortunates screaming in the main hall. Benches in front of the lockers. Typical locker room. And so is this musty smell of old sweat and dirty socks that permeates this entire room. More of that official propaganda. Your silence is the enemy. Help the cleanup brigades, is the slogan of this poster. The floor of this place is one big revolting ashtray. It's a little disconcerting to note that cleanliness is not exactly a top priority in the hospital. This glass cabinet has dozens of medications stored inside, classified by type: antibiotics, anti-inflammatory drugs, diuretics, and, painkillers. Locked. Of course, I'm starting to get annoyed with this sense of ownership I see in all the people with closets, lockers, and other storage furniture in this city. I'd rather use a key to open this case, but I'm a bit short on time. So...
Who is it? Who's there?
Oh, excuse me,
What are you doing here? Have you come to steal something? Take one more step and I'll call the soldiers.
No, wait, please, don't do that.
Security, this is Nurse Uma Grundy. I need you to come right away.
No, wait! Steal? No, you're wrong about me. I'm not a thief.
You just broke the glass on one of our pharmacy cabinets. What am I supposed to think?
There's a reasonable explanation for all of this, I promise you.
You'd better be convincing when those soldiers get here. I can hear them coming now. Come on, get out of here now while you still have time.
You can't turn me in. Those soldiers will kill me if they find me here.
You should have thought of that before you walked into this trap. You'd better save your breath and get out of here fast, before those savages get here.
I thought the first priority of people in the medical profession was to save lives, and you're going to get me killed.
Don't you dare judge me. You have no idea what we're going through in here. Our priority is our patients, and yours should be to get out of here as fast as you can, if you value your life.
Wait a minute. Did you say Uma? Nurse Uma?
Yes, that's my name.
Wait, please don't turn me in. I know your father. I saved his life just a few hours ago. They were going to deport him to the refugee camp, but I was able to stop it.
My God, did you say my father? Tell me, how is he? Has anything happened to him?
Don't worry, Uma. He's safe. He told me about you and your work in this place. He was worried. He'll want to know that you're all right. Wait, please don't turn me in.
This is Nurse Uma Grundy. It turned out to be a false alarm. You don't have to come, thank you.
Thank you, Uma. You did the right thing. My name is Michael.
But now you should explain why you burst in here like that. What are you looking for, Michael?
I came to get medicine. I need a cure for the dissolved.
Cure? There's no such thing. You won't find it here or anywhere else. The authorities distributed a memo among the medical staff months ago. I'm sure you can still find a copy of it around here somewhere. It told us that they've definitely abandoned the search for a medicine. You made a mistake risking your life to get in here. The only thing we store here is pain. This place is a tomb for those poor infected devils, but also for the people who work here. I'm sorry, Michael. The dissolved are condemned to death.
No, that can't be. There has to be a solution, a cure. Oh man, poor Rod, poor Colin. But I heard in the refugee camp, they said a cure is being produced and stored here. Well, if that's not the case, what's the purpose of a building like this?
The Army deliberately keeps that rumor about a possible cure alive. You see, as long as people still have some hope left, it is much easier to control the city more effectively. But it's a lie.
I understand.
This medical center was built just after the Great Wave, taking advantage of some abandoned underground facilities. That was when the authorities were beginning to work on their project to rebuild the city. They told us the building was going to be used to take in the first patients. Of course, we had no idea the disease would become so widespread. I left my job in a clinic downtown to come here. I wanted to lend a hand. They demanded total confidentiality about our work to avoid causing panic in the population. Not even my father knew what we were really doing in here.
Yes, he told me that when I asked him about this place.
At first, we treated the patients with great care. There was medicine to ease their suffering and even research into a possible cure. Everything was going smoothly.
And then what happened?
Things started to go wrong. When the number of patients multiplied, we couldn't keep up. And then we began to run out of even the most basic supplies. And that was when the Army took over complete control of the center.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Then they sealed off the building. No one was allowed to leave, not even us. We doctors and nurses have been shut in here for months, isolated without even a glimpse of daylight. They say it's for security reasons. It's for our own safety. Oh yeah, Now our medical care is limited to wrapping up the patients in plastic bags, like the ones they use to transport cadavers, and then simply waiting for them to die, doing what little we can do to ease their suffering. Then we dispose of their remains, dissolving the black bags in acid for decontamination. And that's about it. That's all we can do with the resources we have, and sometimes it's just too much to bear.
Condemned to die. I heard their cries of pain out there. What really happens to the dissolved?
These people suffer the most excruciating pain and die in the most horrible way I've ever seen. The first symptoms are bouts of nausea and fainting, which become more frequent and prolonged as the disease progresses, until in the end their entire metabolism enters a state of shock. Then their entire cell structure dissolves. It simply disintegrates. There's no medical explanation. It just happens. But there's something even stranger about the disease.
What could be stranger than what you just told me?
The dissolved become erratic, unpredictable, eccentric. They're uncontrollable. That's why the army fears them. They're afraid of their unpredictable behavior, but also of their strange messages. So the sole function of this place is to keep them locked away, hidden, and under the army's control, until death takes them off their hands, one by one. It's also why people who harbor the dissolved are punished. And it's also the reason for the existence of the cleanup brigades.
But I thought they were just controlling the patients to keep the disease from spreading.
But that's a lie, a blatant lie. The spread of the disease is accelerating. The number of cases is multiplying every day. But it's not contagious. We doctors and nurses have been treating the sick for months, in direct contact with them and their remains. And the rate of contagion among us is no higher than out there. The army is lying.
But then, how is the disease spread?
We don't know, Michael. No one knows. What we do know is that it's not caused by direct contact with the victims. There's another reason for the Army's secrecy about the dissolved. Fear. It's human nature to fear the unknown. We tend to panic when faced with something we don't understand. And this damn disease is more than any of us can handle.
And what is it that makes the dissolved so unpredictable and dangerous?
They know, Michael. You probably think I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, they know. They talk about events no one else knows about. They sense things. They bring back information from the places they go. And they talk to the dead there, Michael. They communicate with the dead. They know, Michael. That's all.
They're just sick people, Uma.
No! They're more than just ordinary sick people. You wouldn't talk like that if you had been living with them, and their messages and their prophecies, all these months.
Wait a minute. Did you just say the dissolved make prophecies?
Let me tell you a story. When I first came to the center, I became friendly with a patient, a 13-year-old girl. All the time I was taking care of her, she never stopped chatting. She told me all about the underground highways. She said she went there every day.
Underground highways?
She said they all went there when they lost consciousness. Obviously, I felt great pity for the girl, but in time I also came to feel tremendous fear. I was afraid of that poor, hopeless child. Her visions, her dreams, her messages terrified me. And then one night she sat down next to another patient, an older woman who looked surprisingly healthy. According to our calculations, this woman still had a few months to live. The woman had just lost consciousness. "Leave me alone with her," the girl said to me. "It won't be long now." And she took the woman's hand. And just seconds later, the woman started to dissolve, shrieking and writhing in pain, until there was nothing left of her but a puddle of brown, viscous liquid. The girl turned to me and said, "I knew she was leaving us, and I didn't want her to go alone. That would have been very sad, wouldn't it, Uma?" The girl's face was still dripping with the remains of the patient. She knew what was going to happen, Michael. She saw it. From then on, my fear became uncontrollable. I felt defenseless next to her.
I understand.
Finally, my panic was so great that I refused to go anywhere near her. And I even, God forgive me, I felt secretly relieved when she herself finally dissolved. They know, Michael. And that's why they're so dangerous to the people in power now.
The cleanup brigades. I've seen how they behave.
They're savages. I despise them. They're like predatory animals, heartless and unscrupulous. The rest of the staff refuses to share the facilities with them, so their lockers are out in the hallway. That's where they keep everything they need for their hunting expeditions. The GPSs, the disease detection tests, their ID badges. Each unit is made up of 2 soldiers, 1 doctor and 1 nurse. I mean, doctors and nurses collaborating with those bloodthirsty animals, but then they say, "What do you want? It's our job, and somebody's got to do it."
Yes, that phrase sounds familiar. It's bone-chilling. Police and criminals using exactly the same words to justify their actions. You gotta do what you gotta do. That seems to be the slogan of the executioners of this new world.
Talk to my father, Michael. Tell him that I'm all right, that he shouldn't worry, that we'll be seeing each other soon, very soon.